Thank you, Madam President. Today, as the ranking member of the Rules Committee, I take no pleasure in making these remarks, but the circumstances have given me absolutely no choice. Our distinguished majority leader recently came to this floor and declared that his minority colleagues, that would be us on this side of the aisle, Republicans, were, quote, addicted to Koch, unquote. To those who regularly watch our proceedings, however, I think it is clear who is suffering from this addiction. Practically every morning, our leader starts our session by giving a speech personally attacking David and Charles Koch and their families. The only thing he seems to do more often than block Republican amendments is to attack the Kochs. As distasteful as that is, it is apparently no longer sufficient. The problem with addiction, of course, is that as a tolerance develops, more and more of the drug is needed to satisfy the craving. So now we have learned not only does the majority leader spend his mornings attacking the Kochs, he spends his evenings doing so as well. Last night, the majority leader attended an event in the Capitol Visitor Center, the CVC, in the Capitol building, to promote a movie attacking the Kochs. Never mind that regulations prohibit the use of the CVC space for any, quote, campaign, commercial, promotional, or profit-making purpose, unquote. As House Administration Committee Chairwoman Candace Miller said, we cannot hold partisan political rallies or fundraisers on the grounds of the Capitol or within its walls. Our work in this hallowed building must be solely in the interest of the American people and not in the interest of any political cause. This event is just the latest demonstration of an apparent belief that the rules do not apply to the Democratic leadership. We now have another new precedent, a majority leader appearing in and then promoting a movie in the United States Capitol. It further demonstrates the hypocrisy of the majority's quest to stifle dissent. They celebrate and promote films that attack their opponents, but want to outlaw films that criticize the majority members and their agenda. The irony of promoting a film to advance their campaign to restrict speech is apparently lost on the majority. So it is worth reminding them what the Citizens United case was really all about. It was about a movie. Hillary the movie, to be precise. Hillary the movie was made in the wake of Fahrenheit 9/11. Anyone who saw Fahrenheit 9/11 knows that the purpose of the film was to convince people that George W. Bush was not worthy of the presidency and should not be given a second term. Anyone who saw Hillary the movie knows the purpose was to convince that Hillary Clinton should not be elected president of the United States. Now, I suspect that many of the people who went to see the movie in the CVC last night thought Fahrenheit 9/11 was great and Hillary the movie was terrible. The point of the Citizens United case was that it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which film a majority in Congress might prefer. The producers have the right to make and distribute either one, and they can raise money necessary to do so as they see fit, not subject to any restrictions or limitations imposed by the Congress. And they're guaranteed that right by the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. And this Congress cannot take that away. Now, is that too difficult a concept to grasp? Isn't it obvious? Of course it is. Yet the majority has spent the last 4 years misrepresenting it, and now even wants to amend the Constitution to reverse it. Now, that's just incredible. In a press release announcing an upcoming hearing on the majority's amendment to the First Amendment, it was declared that it was necessary to, quote, build support for amending the Constitution to ensure that all Americans can exercise their First Amendment rights, end of quote. Madam President, it's not necessary to amend the First Amendment to ensure that all Americans can exercise their First Amendment rights. Those rights are already guaranteed by the First Amendment as written. The amendment the majority wants to impose would allow them to once again curtail those rights. Why can't we just be honest about this? Because of the Citizens United decision, people of all points of view now have the opportunity to make their views widely known. Even people who disagree with the majority here in the Senate have that right. And we should all be very grateful for that. Now, I know the majority preferred a system where those who wish to criticize them were restrained in their ability to do so. They want to reimpose those restraints. I do not think they will succeed, but we should make clear what they want to do. In their view, a corporation that happens to own a network, like NBC or CNN, should be able to broadcast the movie they promoted last night as much as they want. If the networks wanted to show the movie every night of the week for 2 hours, that would be just fine with the majority. But if somebody wanted to buy a 30-second ad during the airing of the movie to present an alternative point of view, that would be unacceptable. A 2-hour movie, no problem. A 30-second ad, terrible. Can't be allowed. That is simply absurd. But that was the reality before Citizens United decision. Media corporations could do or say whatever they wanted. Other corporations, however, could not. Citizens United ended that ridiculous distinction, and the majority has been trying to reinstate it ever since. The majority claims they're concerned about wealthy donors. No, they're not. They are concerned about wealthy conservative donors. According to the Los Angeles Times, the very film they promoted last night received financing from foundations, large individual donations, but those donations were okay. I suppose because they went to promote a cause the majority supports, again attacking the Koch family. Likewise, billionaires who support the causes of the majority are not targeted. Billionaire former hedge fund manager Tom Steyer has indicated he intends to spend over $100 million to influence the midterm elections. Does the majority have any problem with that? Of course not. Spending huge amounts of money in politics only concerns them if it is spent against them or on behalf of their opponents. If it is spent to promote the majority and their agenda, no problem. The majority leader has convinced himself, however, and seeks to convince the rest of us that the Kochs are somehow unique, that the Koch brothers present some kind of evil threat, if you will, that other billionaires with different points of view do not pose. He seems to think that for everything bad that happens, the Kochs are to blame. Recently, he claimed that they were one of the main causes of climate change. He said, and I quote, "Not a cause, one of the main causes." What to make of such a statement, Madam President? Could anything be more absurd? There are over 7 billion people on Earth, but our majority leader believes 2 men, Charles and David Koch, are a main cause of climate change. What is that all about? And just yesterday, the majority leader blamed the Kochs for the wildfires in California. The wildfires in California. What's next? Maybe the Kochs are to blame for the planes lost in the Bermuda Triangle. How about the volcanic eruption at Pompeii years back? Even, Mr. President, the futility of the Chicago Cubs. That has to be the Koch family. The majority leader convinces himself that his Koch obsession is justified because he believes their political involvement is motivated only by their own financial interest. It is inconceivable to him that people might exist who simply disagree with him and his agenda and want to see the country take a different path. The reality is there are millions of Americans who want to see this country take a different path, and the Koch family proudly supports that goal and has made donations to help achieve just that. You'll never hear it from the majority leader, but it is time someone presented the rest of the story about the Koch family. This family has pledged or contributed more than $1 billion to cancer research, medical centers, education, the arts, and to assist public policy organizations. $1 billion, Madam President. Is that the act of a family motivated solely by financial interest? I don't think so. Of course not. Just consider a few of these gifts. $100 million as a prime contributor for cancer research at MIT. $100 million to the New York Presbyterian Hospital to build a new ambulatory care center, plus $28 million to other research causes. $20 million to Johns Hopkins University for a cancer research center. $30 million to the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York. $26 million to the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. $26 million to the Hospital for Special Surgery in New York City for Building on Success campaign and other causes. And $35 million to the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History to renovate what's called Dinosaur Hall, which will include one of the largest and most complete T-Rex specimens in the world. $20 million to the American Museum of Natural History. $65 million to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Likewise, the David H. Koch Charitable Foundation gave $100 million for the preservation and renovation at Lincoln Center, home to the New York City Ballet and the New York City Opera. Madam President, all these acts of extraordinary generosity are completely ignored by the majority leader. They are ignored because the Koch family has committed one unforgivable sin. They have opposed him and the Democrat majority and President Obama. They present a threat to Democrats' hold on power, and that's why they're being demonized. That's why they're being attacked. That's why they're being vilified. That is why they have become his obsession. They have had the temerity to challenge the agenda of this majority and its leader. And the leader is not happy about it, and he wants it to stop. And it looks like he will do anything he can to make it stop, up to and including amending the Constitution of the United States. I think that's a disgrace. It has demeaned this institution. It should stop. The First Amendment doesn't exist to protect those of us in this body. It exists to protect the people. It is there to prevent us from silencing our critics, and thank God for that. I just wish the majority would recognize that they do not have the power to silence their critics. The First Amendment denies them that power. I wish the majority leader would stop engaging in character assassination against citizens who choose to exercise their First Amendment rights, and I wish he would stop acting like he is the only person on earth who can say whatever he wants. He isn't. We all have the right to express ourselves, all of us. From Michael Moore to Citizens United, from Tom Steyer to the Koch family. All of us have that right, Madam President. All of us. Let's stop trying to deny it. Let's stop trying to change it. It is beneath us. It demeans this body, and it is wrong. I yield the floor.